Today's video is Horror Stories Part 2, specifically discussing illness, specifically severe illness that will prevent someone from continuing in their business. Hi there, I'm Trevor, the EIDL expert, and my partner Linda Ray is not here, but she also is an EIDL expert, and we are the EIDL experts. We've received multiple comments that I'm going to review in a moment from folks who clearly are in dire circumstance, and Linda Ray and I send our sincere sympathies out to each and every one of you going through a terrible medical challenge at this time. And on today's video, I'm going to discuss what do you do if your business got a COVID EIDL and you find that you are experiencing a severe illness where you can no longer continue to work. If you want to know more about how we can help you with your COVID EIDL, please click on the link in the description. And as you travel down to the description, please hit that thumbs up and tell YouTube that this video has value, and YouTube will share this video with other small business owners just like you. I wanted to share with you the comments we have seen in recent months from folks going through severe medical distress and trying to figure out what to do with their COVID EIDL as a result. First comment is from Joy Shannon. I am permanently disabled now, won't be reopening. Scared they will put a lien on my home, sole proprietor. Joy, I may have used this comment previously to discuss the idea that how it works to get a lien put on your home, but essentially, in order for the SBA to enforce that, they would have to take you to court. They'd have to sue you and obtain a judgment. Whether you're a sole proprietor or a small business with an LLC corporate protection that has a personal guarantee feature, in either case, in order to put an actual lien on your home, the SBA would have to sue you and win in court. And I'm going to discuss what options would be available for you once I'm finished reading the comments. Next is an email that we received, and I know that I've discussed this email before. This email inspired a recent video we did about bankruptcy, that there's no shame in bankruptcy. This email says, "Hello, I had a stroke after I took out my loans. Obviously, my business without me folded, so I am without assets to pay it. I do not want to declare bankruptcy because everything I have is what I have to survive on until I die. Parentheses, grim reality." But it is a grim reality, and we're really sorry to hear of these types of stories. Next is from Pink Cadillac 70. I became very ill due to stress of business and had a stroke. I've been recovering but have fallen behind in everything. I can't get any answers and have called multiple times. I need a break. This idea that you can't get any answers and you've called multiple times. Well, number one, right now there's nobody answering the phone at the SBA anyway. Next is that we created Guidebooks. We offered full consulting services, which we stopped doing in September of 2024. We currently offer 1-hour consulting calls, but we provide these services because the SBA is absent in giving you guidance. You know, on the SBA website, it takes you forever and a day to find it, but once you find the page, manage your COVID EIDL on the SBA website, it's a single page with, 5 or 6 bullet points. It's of no help whatsoever with these types of specific questions that we get here on our YouTube comments and through emails all the time. The SBA website is no help at all. You go to the IRS website, you can put in anything that you need assistance with, and not only does the IRS have a page dedicated to that question, that situation you have interest in knowing about, but you can also request an actual publication from the IRS because they publish guidelines on all different aspects of paying your taxes. No such help comes from the Small Business Administration. And that's why we are here doing these videos. And as you will see a bit later when I comment about some other nastier comments about our consulting and our products, we're here because the SBA is such a failure at supporting you folks and in informing you folks and communicating with you folks. Pink Cadillac says it best. I can't get any answers from the SBA. We have no other reason to exist but to come here and give you this advice. And this advice is free, as a reminder. All we ask you to do is hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Next, this is from Dead Cat Lives. Oh, I'm really happy that your cat's alive. I became disabled overnight. I had just closed my LLC after waiting and hoping I would get better. Totally broke now. Next comment is from MS Faith Warrior. I've seen this comment before. I may have mentioned this in a previous video. Hi, I got an EIDL for $60,000. I'm a sole proprietor. My business went bad. On top of that, I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and haven't been able to work since June 2023, which as of today's video, that's 2 years that this person has not been able to work. I don't think I can go back to paying the $300 full payment for this $60,000 COVID EIDL. Any thoughts? Yes, I have thoughts, which is why we came on here today with Horror Stories Part 2 about illness, so that I can tell you what my thought is. My thought is you need to consult with an attorney and file a bankruptcy. Setting aside the issues around the COVID EIDL and repayment of it, default on it, and the long-term consequences, if you are that severely ill, as the folks in these comments have demonstrated that they are, what are you doing? You need to hire an attorney and file a bankruptcy, because you need to focus on getting yourself healthy, if that's possible, or at least managing through your medical challenge, through your illness. And you can't do that if you are worrying about the federal government and the COVID EIDL. Hire an attorney. Discuss with the attorney what your options are for bankruptcy. We've done previous videos about bankruptcy here on the channel, and we created a guidebook, which is what we call a Blueprint Breakout guidebook. It comes from our main EIDL resource hub, which is our compendium, if you will, about everything you need to know about the COVID program. But we created a guidebook pulled out from the chapter on bankruptcy. We also created a blueprint guidebook about business closure, because maybe bankruptcy is not the option for the COVID loan. Maybe your business has sufficient assets, whether it's equipment, fixtures, or intangible assets such as accounts receivable and things of that nature, that can be liquidated, that you can use to pay off the COVID loan in full or in part. And that at least would get you further down the line to get this debt cleared off the table, so you can focus on what is most important in your life, which is your medical challenge. If you are interested in either of those guidebooks, there's a link in the description. And speaking of our guidebooks and the 1-hour consulting calls that we offer, I wanted to share with you a few of the rude comments that we get from folks on our channel here. And I will tell you, in response to emails as well. A few months back, I think it was February of this year, and we get these emails every day of the week. It's not just the YouTube comments. We get folks emailing us, calling our personal cell phones and leaving messages, sending us text messages, telling us about how they need our help. And as a good example of how obtuse and how disrespectful people can be, besides these comments I'm going to share with you in a moment, back in February, a woman emailed us, and her situation was very dire with the COVID loan. And at the time, we were not offering 1-hour consulting calls. We had closed it down for the moment because of a medical issue, actually. Linda was quite ill, and so I was busy taking care of her. And so we closed down the consulting. I responded to this woman's email, and I said, look, we're not offering calls at this time, but I will make an exception for you, and I will offer you the chance to book a call, and here's the cost. And I emailed her back. This woman took the time to email me back in response to that offer to make an exception, to give her help that she was asking for, but help that she had to pay for. And she wrote back in giant 78-point font, LOL. I've been disrespected by a lot of different people in my life, personally and professionally. That one kind of, along with these comments, are about as low as you can get if you're a human being. If you're a small business owner and you're reaching out to another business for assistance in a situation where you're dealing with a federal agency that offers you zero assistance. You can't call them. You send them emails. You get weird emails in response. You want to do a transaction. They make you use the money to pay the loan of it. Look, there's obstructions when you do get a response from the SBA at every turn. And yet people reach out to us for help all the time. We do our best here on YouTube to help you, and this is the kind of disrespect we get. Here's a comment from a few months ago. Your opinions can be viewed in the same regard. These are not opinions, by the way. This is expert advice, because this is what we do day in and day out to think about, to stay up to date with, and to help with the COVID EIDL program. And this guy goes on to say, but I get it. You need to sell your book. That's what I think of you, jackass. Next one, this moron says $300 just for a consultation. I believe professional services, oh, you believe, that's what you believe? Great. Should be primarily on the back end, let alone $300 consultations. Well, first of all, moron, the cost of our 1 hour call is actually a little bit higher than $300. So you didn't even take the time to look at the website and see what the actual price was. But, moron. And this comment is not a rude comment. No, this is from our new friend, because you've heard me mention her name multiple times on other videos, notably about short-term payment assistance. This is from Giselle Balboa, 9209. And Giselle says, I have been trying to find details on the SBA website, but none. And now, Giselle sent us this comment on a video back in April or early May. And specifically, the video in question is SBA offers an alternative to the hardship program, the short-term payment assistance program. And Giselle watched our video and then went to the SBA website so that she could request the short-term payment assistance. But as I have previously reported in our videos, the SBA did not have any guidance about the program on the website at that time. They since updated it somewhere around May 30th. But as a reminder, the SBA, this agency is just an absolute nightmare when it comes to procedural, bizarro behavior. The worst communications, both externally and internally, of any federal agency I've ever dealt with. And so again, when I get comments like from these two morons before, and other people who have called us hucksters and shills, because, do you know what it takes to go into doing this? To do this video today was about 3 hours of prep time. And that's just my end of it. Once I give the video to Linda, she has to spend 2 or 3 hours doing the editing and the publishing. And, YouTube only pays us a few $100s a month. That's not paying our bills. That's why we appreciate folks like Giselle Balboa, who keeps commenting and giving us good feedback, and I hope is also subscribed to the channel, and other good folks like you who book 1 hour consulting calls, who buy our guidebooks, who like the videos, who subscribe. As I have said multiple times in previous videos, there is no reason for us to exist giving away this information, spending this much time for a business which frankly is just not viable, honestly, as a business. It is not. We have a plan. Someone on the phone 2 weeks ago was begging me to keep going. That's a business owner, and we're running a business also. If you just cannot make enough money to pay your bills, you know what you do? You close the business. You close the doors and you shut it down. You go off and you do something else. We're still hanging in there for the moment, but that's why we appreciate Giselle and why we get so annoyed with morons like those two previous comments. This person, Brett U4Ed, says, I can't even reach out to SBA nowadays. That's right, because Loeffler fired everybody and there's nobody answering the phones. That's why we're here, to give you this information. That's why we created guidebooks, because we cannot answer every question, and we can't do it for free, and we cannot do enough 1 hour consulting calls to answer your questions. In fact, we're phasing out the consulting calls altogether. Last but not least, if you want inspiration, advice, strategies on managing your business, on growing your business, maintaining, saving your business, pivoting your business, pop on over to our other channel, Simple Sense for Small Business, where we have hundreds of videos. You can kind of sort of get an MBA on YouTube for free from Linda Ray and myself. And on behalf of Linda Ray, I want to thank you all for tuning in today. We'll see you next time around. Maybe.